So we're going to look at a few steps for freehand isometric drawing. Now, there is obviously several ways of doing producing the same outcome, but the way I do it and the way I like to teach to have a reasonable finish is to, first of all, just draw your small horizontal line there, so you have a datum to work from this point here. Next thing we're going to do is draw basically a box the same size for inserting the USB plug into. So if I was to draw the same box here, I'll just make that a bit clearer so you can see it better. So this USB adapter or plug would fit into a box this big, that sort of size. So I'm going to draw that same size box, that same shape over here. So roughly anyway, it doesn't have to be exactly the same size. So we do this, ensuring you've got parallel lines. It doesn't matter if you make a mess, it looks good, it looks better in my opinion. It shows your construction lines, it shows you thinking about it, as opposed to trying to make it look pretty. You can neaten it all up afterwards. Just make sure all your left-hand diagonal lines are parallel. Make sure all your vertical lines are parallel. Make sure all your right-hand diagonal lines are parallel as well. So at the moment we've got the two main sections, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to start with getting this metal section of the plug. So as you can see, there's a little step there, so that step is there. You can see that the metal section is actually set back from the widest part of the rubber casing or the plastic casing. So there's a step or a recess goes in there and there, and then I'm going to bring this line down to the front like so. I'm going to bring this line down to the front like so, and then you just have to, it's kind of like dot to dot in a way, because you just have to join all the lines up together, and so I've got here now, I now have the metal part drawn in. If we go towards the back section here, we've got, now we've got this little separate entity which steps down. It's quite a big step. It's still rubber or plastic, I should say, and also the USB plug does taper in. The width here is less than the width here, but on this occasion we're not going to make that too obvious. We're just going to draw this separate part here. It's a bit thinner, and it does step up quite a lot there. So it goes up there like that, and there is a diagonal line there, just like this. Comes out a bit further than that actually. And then you have a rounded part there. And last but not least is the cable sheathing with 3 little wires coming out like so. There's your outside shape. So once you're happy with the shape, you want to use a fine liner or black biro and just draw around the outside lines. And when you get to the corners, apart from the metal, when you get to the corners, just round it off a little bit. like so. You've got your 3 wires here, so we'll just do this. Now, if I've done the outside of the shape there. If I look on the actual image here, I can see there is a black line there. So I'm going to replicate that black line with my pen. There's not really any more obvious black lines, so I'm going to leave the pen for now. I'll just draw these squares here. So the squares, you're going to do a little grid for the squares, and then draw them. We are going to be adding some colour very shortly. So whilst I've still got my pen as well, I can just see, if I just look carefully here, I can see where there's a USB symbol here, and that symbol, I can just about see it. Kind of looks a little bit like that. The black pen is the depth, because all this here, around here, is like a frame, and it sets down. If you have a look at your USB plug now, you'll see that this symbol sets back into, or sets down about 1 millimeter into the rest of the casing. So next thing to do is to start adding some colour. So start out light, don't press down too much initially, and then you can start pressing down a bit more later on after you've got everywhere shaded. You don't have to shade everywhere, I suppose, because you can leave, you're going to have areas of complete white, so you can leave, you literally leave shading some areas. The rule of thumb is the further away the object is, the darker the shade will be. Not always the case, but generally. So inside here is the darkest because there is no light, and the top of the metal part here casts a shadow, so we'll do the same. Now this side is darker than here, so we can go back over that now. This is why you have to do everywhere light first of all, because then you can compare the two. So if we look at that, that's darker, that's medium, that's the lightest. So I think we're probably okay there now. Actually, might maybe go over it a bit after. So I'm going to pick another colour just to make it stand out better. So again, I'm going to go over it all fairly light. I'm going to leave a white line along there, down every corner, because that's where the light would reflect. If there was a light in the room now, the light would be reflecting off that corner along there. So I will leave. It shows the shape as well better when you leave something like this. Well, I'll do that black actually. That's the cable, so we'll do the cable black, but again, even a white top. I'm kind of rushing this now because just trying to get it done. But you notice the sides here are darker, so I will go over these sides a bit now. And then what we said earlier was the further away the object is, the darker it is. So here is further away, steps down as well. This body of the USB plug steps in, which is casting a shadow from here, or this is object part here is casting a shadow onto the back area. This is round, so the bottom of it will be darker as it comes round to the top, like that. And then so here with the lightest part, and then there's a strip of light going across there, so I'll leave that. But the face here is very dark. Press down a bit there. There's a bit of white going down as well on that corner. So what I said before also was that there is a small recess here where the USB symbol has been embossed into the top. So we just have to try and make that clear. Okay, so if I do some shade now, or a shadow, just have a small bit there. And then just pick a couple of, like a green and a blue to do the cable. Red one. And that's pretty much it really. So first thing we did was we drew around the shape, so you can have an idea of what shape you're going to draw first. So if you've done that, you've done round all the sides of the shape, and that's the box that the shape would fit into. So you come over here, you do your starting point like that, draw this line, over here, join them up, so they're parallel. So here I now have the right side, left side, and plan. Okay, so watch this video, watch it a few times, pause it, try drawing it yourself, and if in doubt, just keep watching the video until you have mastered the freehand isometric steps. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you shortly.